Good morning. We're thrilled to welcome you to part three of our exciting new series, Moving Forward, Practical Tips for Maintaining Independence and Simplifying Life. This four-part series is brought to you by Parkinson's Community Los Angeles, and it's featuring insights from Dr. Mary Grace Lagasca. I'm Judy Yaris, Vice President of PCLA. For those who don't know us, we are a nonprofit that supports families living with Parkinson's through our free education programs like this one, online and in-person support groups, social events, and more. Today's conversation is made possible by important donations from people just like you in the Parkinson's community. If you appreciate our work, please consider making a donation at pcla.org. Your donation is 100% tax deductible. So thank you in advance. We rely on your generosity to help us continue this important work. Now, our presenter, Dr. Mary Grace Lagasca, is an occupational therapist and entrepreneur in Houston, Texas. While pursuing her doctorate degree, she was able to conduct a study with persons diagnosed with Parkinson's disease using cognitive mapping and motivational interviewing to help clinicians provide more personal-centered care. Her research was a poster presentation at the World Parkinson's Congress in Barcelona, Spain, this last year, and a workshop presentation at the National Organization of Occupational Therapists Conference last April. In addition to her work with the Houston area Parkinson's community, her inspiration comes from being an advocate, cheerleader, and caregiver to her father who has been battling Parkinson's disease for the last decade. So let's get started.
Thank you so much, Judy, for that introduction. Hi, everyone. I know that I've met several of you over the last few months in parts 1 and 2. Today's part 3, and I'm excited to present it. It's the third of a 4-part series. At the beginning of our presentation, I was wanting to just give you a heads up that if you want to take an opportunity, grab a pen or pencil, some paper and a napkin. We'll be using that today for some fine motor exercises I'll be walking you through in a little bit. So with that said, I want to give you some background if I haven't met you already. As Judy said, I'm an occupational therapist. I'm actually from Southern California. And the slide earlier was my dad hugging his grandkids. And I just felt like this is a huge hug to my Los Angeles community who's going through so much right now. And I just want to applaud PCLA as being so pivotal in helping those in the community and raising so much support and funds for those who have lost homes and so much with all these wildfires. So my heart is with all of you. And as a former Southern Californian, I am definitely having you in my thoughts and prayers. One of the big things that I did in Southern California was I had a company working with adults with developmental disabilities called Enjoy Life Resources. And that was really the heart behind my research and my desire to be an occupational therapist. Is occupational therapist really is just a fancy word for occupation, and that means activities. And activities is what my goal is in getting my patients and clients to be able to go back to doing the activities they love. So my heart is doing the things you want to do again. So whatever that looks like, I will work with my patients to get them to not only have more meaningful lives, but my heart with this presentation is at the heart of my work and research with the Parkinson's community. And just all of you are inspiring to me. And my dad, who has Parkinson's disease, as mentioned earlier, he's here. He had at a Greek restaurant a plate that he was going to smash, and on it says, "I'm a warrior and I want to destroy PD, Parkinson's disease." Just like you all, we want to just destroy our symptoms. So hopefully in the next presentation and this one, I'll be able to give you some practical things you could do, hopefully on a daily basis, to relieve those symptoms and maybe minimize them. Some disclaimer is that all and everyone that I've talked to that has Parkinson's has a different journey. You have your own story. So I don't know your specific situation. So I'm always telling people with all of my talks to always consult your medical care team. Because again, you have a unique experience. You have different medications you're taking, supports. I don't know those, but I do recognize there are similarities across the board in the research and what people have been telling me and what I've engaged with people with Parkinson's. So that's what I try to touch on here. But in no way am I endorsing any product here or using any product and getting a commission out of them. I simply am presenting them as awareness, things my patients have used, things I've found to be helpful, and things I've used with my dad. If you weren't able to see either of the presentations, they'll look like this on the PCLA website. You can go to their YouTube channel. You can see the first two presentations, one talking about all of these activities of daily living. And then the second one was again looking at all these activities of daily living with the travel considerations in mind, because we were all doing a lot of traveling and living in different time zones and places during the holidays. I really want to encourage you that if you have a caregiver or a spouse or family member that's helping and supporting you, this would be a great opportunity to share with them these slides, because I talk a lot about the things I use in helping support my dad. Our learning objectives today is to explore daily practices that will hopefully help you alleviate stress and anxiety, reset your central nervous system, improve your quality of life, boost your mood, and increase your participation in everything fun like recreation and leisure activities. I can't go further without talking about what our routines, rituals, and habits are. This next year, I'm hoping, myself included, that we can all create new routines, rituals, and habits that will not only help us leverage this thing called neuroplasticity to keep our brains healthy and healthier, but we can look for non-medicated ways to increase our dopamine. So part of that is maybe just starting to look at your daily routine. I'm guilty of this. I don't know about you, but I scroll first thing in the morning, and I not just scroll different apps, but I also scroll news, which is so alarming and so much a negative thing in planting ideas and negative emotions in my brain and heart right away in the morning. If I could just remove scrolling in the morning, that would help to not only keep the dopamine I've been producing all night while I was sleeping, but hopefully increase it simply by delaying when I look at my phone in the morning. Another really easy way to increase the dopamine, a hack that people use, is a version of cold plunging, but none of us probably have a cold plunge at home. So you could always take a 30-second cold shower, and 30 seconds will feel really long if you do it at first. But if you start with like 5 seconds and work up your way to 10 seconds and up to 30, they say 30 seconds is usually the gold standard of being in a cold shower. And that actually does so many things of increasing the dopamine in your body, but it also is excellent right before you know you're going into a meeting that requires a lot of thinking. You need to do some heavy, deep work, and you need some very focused work. And so you're going to be needing to have all that dopamine and energy to be able to be part of these really difficult activities. Then taking a cold 30-second shower could help to really awaken all of your senses and get you ready for that. The other thing we can do is control things coming into our brain. So sometimes we want to, again, look at our phones, but maybe you consider a Kindle that has this mode, black and white mode, that acts as a book, and it takes away all the blue light. Or just read a book and not have blue light in your room. Also looking at the devices in your bedroom and all the notifications and all the distractions that's interrupting your sleep, causing you to think about things, trigger negative emotions, all those things coming into your brain is likely going to take away or reduce the dopamine that we are trying to stimulate and increase, especially with Parkinson's. We have low dopamine, so we need to look for ways, not just through medication, but non-medicated ways to be able to increase that. I laugh because I have this picture of my parents on a ship, and we decided to go for an excursion when we were in Barcelona, and it was a beautiful evening, sunset, picturesque, blue water, and I turn around and I look at my parents and they're on their phones. And like, how many times do we do that? We're like in the most beautiful place in the world and we're on our phones. Again, the phone is the culprit, that myself included. I pull it out at the wrong times and don't realize, before I know it, don't realize that time has passed, and I miss that opportunity to be immersed in nature and present in the moment. So maybe consider, lessening your cell phone and screen time. So there's this powerful thing called neuroplasticity. If you haven't heard of it, I feel like it gives us especially with Parkinson's disease, so much hope because Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative condition. So our ability to create new neural pathways in our brain is so important. Think of your brain as malleable and plastic. So our ability to change and adapt comes from creating new connections and strengthening existing ones. And that comes when we're experiencing things, learning new things. You even can get it from injury. But what we're trying to do is rewire ourselves in our brains to create new neural pathways so that we're constantly being able to take in information, retain it, and build up our cognitive strength. So neuroplasticity provides us so much hope when we can look at it as changing and adapting. So then we need to create more stimulating, exciting, and ways to learn and experience have new experiences that we maybe never tried before in order for us to create those new neural pathways. So grounding, I have my dad here. He's in Texas. He did this every day, which I was proud of. He took 15 minutes in the backyard barefoot to walk around on the grass. And grounding, what that is, it's a technique or version, any type of technique that is used to help individuals connect with the present moment and nature. So the science says that roughly 10 to 15 minutes is ideal to be in touch with nature or be in nature. The Japanese even have a practice called, and if I say this wrong, somebody let me know, it's called Shinrin Yoku, but it's called forest bathing. And they practice forest bathing on a regular basis, but this is meaning unplugged, no earphones, listening to nothing except being fully immersed in nature. Some studies I've seen say that you roughly need 5 minutes in direct sunlight first thing in the morning to get a great benefit. But if it's cloudy, you can also still get a benefit. It'll just take longer. So be out there for 15 minutes. But this is a daily practice that you could do at the park, here in my dad's in the backyard, but there's even more benefit when you can do barefoot. There's something, they say the central nervous system and your blood pressure actually get reset, and your blood pressure actually lowers when it feels the grass. It's like our body knows when we're with nature and feeling that earthing or grounding, they call it. So we'll practice some visualization and mental grounding at the end of my presentation, so stay on the presentation to get that exercise, but I had to talk about grounding. There's a specific technique, this will be in the presentation slides, when you feel stress. And right now, people are displaced in LA. There's a lot of things going on in the news, a lot of things going on in our lives that cause our stress to increase. There's an immediate thing we can do, and I actually wanted to practice it with you right now, but what it is it's called this 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. And I actually wanted to applaud this De-Stress Monday. If you have an opportunity and can go on their website, they have several resources around breath work and grounding. But I wanted to go ahead and take a moment. So this grounding technique works like this. Say, for example, your heart rate is racing, you're stressed. What we can do is acknowledge 5 things. So let's go ahead and do that right now. If you can sit up in your chair, and let's take a deep breath, actually. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just take a moment and let's acknowledge 5 things that you can see around you. So you don't need to close your eyes for this part. You just look around and see 5 things that you can see around you. Okay, now I want you to acknowledge 4 things that you can touch around you. And you might want to touch them or just acknowledge 4 different things that you could touch around you. Now, acknowledge 3 things that you can hear around you. So what are you hearing? Just acknowledge them in your mind. 3 things that you can hear around you. Now acknowledge 2 things you can smell. What are 2 things you can smell right now? My mom picked up an orange or a lemon. She's so cute. 2 things you can smell. And then what's 1 thing you can taste around you? Can you taste anything? I have my coffee here. For those few seconds right now, We kind of stopped what was causing us stress and our mind focusing on that. And we started to engage all 5 senses: our sight, our touch, our hearing, our smelling, and our taste. And sometimes when we're in stressful moments, we're only fixated on that negative thing or that thing, that our heart racing, and we need to stop our entire body and engage all 5 senses. So that's something you can easily practice and do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a grounding technique. And I encourage you to look at this website when you can. They have so many cool tools on there and they're all free. So another way to stay out in nature is, I know a lot of people love gardening. My mom's a big gardener, but sometimes there are things that limit us physically to do this. So I just wanted to highlight some different equipment that you could use that's adaptive. The websites are below here. So if you get this PowerPoint slide later, you can email me, I'll send it to you. But these Easy Grip garden cultivator tools, they're great because you don't have to bend your wrist, and they help with the ease of actually shoveling or picking up with that tool. So if you have limited range of motion, you don't need to use that to use this tool. The other are these claw gardening gloves, which are really great because it avoids not only your protecting your hands from getting too messy, but it also allows you, if you can't hold a tool, you can just use your fingers as a tool. And it's a great fine motor exercise to get your hands really dirty in the dirt. The other one I highlighted over here is a gardening kneeling stool. I don't know if you've seen these before, but I'm such a big, I've said this in my last 2 presentations, big proponent for energy conservation. So I'm always wanting you to be seated or kneeling or something where you're conserving energy, not standing while you're doing something. So in this case, you could kneel here at the bench. You could sit here at the bench. Of course, if you had something like a raised garden bed, you're able to use this as a seat. But you also can put all your tools in one place, so you're not walking back and forth, again, using energy to go back and forth to get the supplies that you need. You could put them all here before you go at one time. So another way to maintain staying out in nature. So getting out and about. Does anybody in the audience actually use this U-step? I don't know if you do. In the chat, I'd love to hear your experience, but this U-step walker is something I've used with several patients I've worked with that have Parkinson's disease. If you haven't seen it before, I wanted to make sure I bring it up. Again, I make no money or commission off of this, but I think it's such a cool walker. So unlike our normal walker rollator that rolls and then you have to squeeze the handles up here to brake and make it stop, it's the opposite. So basically this rollator, this walker won't move unless you squeeze it. So it actually stays in place. So your walker won't roll off away from you. And so the nice thing is that it stays in place. It's sturdier. As you can see, it's heavier. It also has 2 features specific to Parkinson's. One is up here, it's called a cueing module, but it's actually a metronome that helps with, as you may have heard, the beat of a metronome helps with the walk and walking steady and walking with a speed that's adjustable. And then down here is what they call a laser projected red light. It's wonderful because it gives you a physical cue so that when you're walking, you know, especially if you're shuffling and your shuffling is a tendency of yours, this gives you that visual cue to walk forward and to walk bigger steps. So this is specific to Parkinson's disease. And for some people, they've told me it's reimbursable by Medicare, but the website's down below. So it's a U-step walker. So getting out and about is so important. I have a picture of my dad here with walking sticks. If you haven't used those, the walking sticks are excellent ways to keep you not only moving your arms while you're walking, but to take those bigger steps and to also still feel steady at the same time. But I wanted to reiterate the power of breath work and exercises. So breathing is, number 1, it's free. There's no setup or equipment, number 2. And number 3, you can do it anywhere at any time, any place. You just have to remember to do it. And oftentimes when we're stressed and we're worried or we're overwhelmed or we're in a difficult situation, we might stop breathing or hold our breath, or you're learning something new, you're holding your breath. So right now I wanted to go ahead and practice. There's several types of breathing here. I wanted to practice the diaphragmatic breathing with you all. So we can, again, practice the benefit of that. So when I talk about diaphragmatic breathing, we're actually doing the breathe through your nose and out through your mouth, what's going to happen is when you breathe through your nose, I say smell the roses because that's similar to that movement. So you're going to keep your mouth closed. You're going to breathe through your nose, and then you're going to blow out like you're blowing out the candles through your mouth. Again, that brings oxygen immediately to your brain. And if I had a pulse oximeter before and after we do these exercises, you would immediately see your oxygen levels rise. So let's go ahead and take 10 deep diaphragmatic breaths. If you could go ahead, sit up straight in your chair, shoulders back, good posture. Let's go ahead. You can close your eyes if you want. But let's go ahead and take 10 deep breaths. Let's breathe through our nose, smell the roses, out through your mouth. Let's smell the roses, blow out the candles. Smell the roses, blow out the candles. Smell the roses, blow out the candles. Let's smell the roses, blow out the candles. Smell the roses, blow out the candles. Last time, smell the roses, blow out the candles. So now notice how you're feeling. You brought oxygen immediately to your brain. When I'm doing something difficult, like maybe exercising, I'll do that. But you can do that at any time or any place, and it's free. So we love that. The box breathing, I have another slide. If it's not, I don't go over it today. I'll go over it in my next presentation, but it's simply following a box and holding breaths short and long. So I'll show you that in the future slide, but that's another form of breathing. But I think 10 deep breaths is all that it takes to, again, calm your body down, reset your central nervous system, lower your blood pressure, and really support you in feeling better and getting a clear mind to do the next thing. Now, there's also seated guided meditation. We'll be doing that later, along with a progressive muscle relaxation and body scan. So stay tuned to the end of the presentation. We'll do that as well. And on all my slides, I put links to the articles that you could reference or look at if you ever want to go back to what I'm talking about or need more information. So I wanted to talk about music. We're going to talk about a lot of fun things we could incorporate and do. This next year, maybe you're already playing music, but the research says that music definitely reduces stress. It also boosts our memory and lowers our blood pressure. If you're involved with music, I don't have to tell you that. But what's interesting is, could you incorporate even more music than you already have in your life? So I put an article down here because it actually is saying and making a case for singing in the shower. Could you sing in the shower? Could that be another way? Because you're already overstimulating all of your senses in the shower. Take it to the next level and increase your dopamine by singing at the same time. I don't know what I would sing. Let me think. Maybe you guys can tell me what song you would sing in the shower, but singing in the shower actually can, in a non-medicated way, increase your dopamine. So there's also research around playing music while you're brushing your teeth. I mean, think about it. We're brushing our teeth for 2 minutes. So maybe you're playing your favorite song, making the time pass, and those 2 minutes will fly by, but you could do it while you're brushing your teeth. I even had a patient that I worked with. I would go do therapy in our house, and she would play wonderful, like, classical music in the background. And she would tell me it just made the environment more pleasant. I think she also knew that when I come over, I'm going to work her out. And she, to help her make a very difficult task pleasant, she would play this beautiful music in the background. So could you be playing music while you exercise? Could you be playing your favorite song while you're doing a difficult task? How could you incorporate more background music or music in your current environment? And the reason is, the research is really saying that music, considered an exercise for your brain. So I have a diagram here. This is from the Sound Health at the Kennedy Center, but it basically goes into detail about all the different parts of your brain that are firing off when you're dancing to music, when you're playing instruments, when you're singing songs, when you're listening to music. all these different parts of your brain are firing off at the same time in a way that it ordinarily wouldn't if you weren't listening to music. I think it's so important to recognize that music can do so many things outside of it being therapeutic and healing. Music takes us to a place we've not been for a long time. If we remember that song when we were younger, a season in our life, music has the capacity to bring memories to our brain. And so consider music as exercise for your brain and how you can incorporate it more. Music, playing or learning an instrument is really important. I think I jumped over it, but if I could go back to this slide, my dad, while he was here, he uses that drum set behind me that my son plays on. And he actually simply does We Will Rock You, and he does, the beat goes banana, banana. Well, while he's doing that, he's memorizing, remembering. He's also doing this gross motor upper arm activity. He's coordinating. He's doing his seating balance, his dynamic reach. There's so many different benefits when you're playing an instrument that come into accord and have to work together, not just in your brain, but in your body. It's an amazing way to connect both of those. And so that was my dad doing banana to We Will Rock You. But there's a lot of research around drums and drumming, around the beat with Parkinson's, but learning an instrument, or even, I'm Filipino, we love karaoke. So singing karaoke, make it a competition around holidays and sing with your family. Here, my dad is with his singing group. He joined a singing group. It's actually, Karen in the middle here is a speech pathologist, and she actually really does all these vocal exercises, but they were able to perform at the opening ceremonies at the World Parkinson's Congress. So I'm so proud of them. But can you have music during your exercises, during your walks? And I want to ask you, what song would you sing, or what song are you going to sing in your shower? So take a moment in the chat. Maybe if anyone wants to tell me, what song would you sing in the shower, or what's your song? What's your song that you're going to listen to more often now? I know my dad would play the song Celebrate, Celebrate, and he automatically would start dancing. He couldn't not dance. So what song would you guys sing? Put that song in the chat. I would be curious. Or what's your song? I'm always looking for good music to play during my exercise classes, and they always claim that I'm the instructor with the best music. So I'm always looking for new music. What song would you sing? Okay. Now, journaling. I don't know if you practice journaling or if you have a practice of journaling, but the science and the research is such a big proponent for journaling. Why? Because when our body is stressed, when we're having experiences and emotions that we're holding inside, it's increasing the cortisol in our body. And the way I heard a neuroscientist explain it, it's like a pressure cooker where we're just building up, building up, building up. And then without any place to put that, we explode. And so our bodies are negatively impacted by holding all those emotions and negative ideas inside of us. So the capacity to release them in some way is really powerful. So you can write it out, you can speak it out. But if you are able to write it out, what our benefits from journaling can be, especially for those with Parkinson's, studies have shown there's emotional regulation. Again, there's that rewiring of neural pathways. The capacity to reduce our stress comes when we're able to write things out. It's like we put it somewhere, and we can also increase our self-awareness about our negative emotions or thoughts. And it could hopefully unlock creativity. Some of you might be writers and we don't know. And so that's where there's so many added benefits to journaling if you choose to do so. And I put here that journaling doesn't have to be the traditional sense of writing, although I have a writing tool here with the link. Writing could be difficult for you, but there are tools like this one where it's like a weighted, more built up handle on the pen, and you could write, it's weighted so it helps with the tremors and helps with the capacity to write. But there are also dictation devices. You can use your phone now and it'll type it for you. But there are so many ways to get, again, all those emotions out and journal. The Monday De-Stress website that I showed you earlier, this is their website as well. They have several prompts on gratitude. And then if you haven't heard of Morning Pages, it's this book here, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And all she claims is that daily, just wake up and just 3 pages of unconscious and conscious thoughts, just no prompts at all. You just write whatever's on your mind and get it out. And she recommends 3 pages, but this is a powerful way, again, to get all those benefits we just talked about, but more importantly for this community to relieve our stress and our anxiety, and bring us to an awareness of where we're at and what we're experiencing. So we'll practice journaling in just a little bit. So I wanted, if you were able to get any of those tools, the towel, the napkin, or the pen, I wanted to practice some fine motor, and I'll talk a little bit before we do that. So if you wanted to go get those things, you can get those right now. But fine motor, we were talking about writing. Fine motor exercises can be done in fun ways. So you don't have to do the exercises I'm about to propose. You could just do a jigsaw puzzle, or maybe pull out that chess set, or play cards again. Playing games is so important to so many elements of what can help us with our PD symptoms. So not only does it help with the dexterity and the fine, what we call fine motor, your finger dexterity and strength, but it can also help with, again, your visual skills, your hand-eye coordination, the memory, again, creating new neural pathways. Our whole family just learned Mahjong. You'll see a picture in that in a little bit. And that's like creating neural pathways, being competitive, creates that dopamine in your system. So there's so many benefits to playing games and all of that. So there's an article too I'll reference in a little bit. But if you do have a moment, this here is a friend, a colleague of mine. I work here out in Houston with the Houston Area Parkinson Society, Liz. If you don't do it today, she has a video of all the exercises we're about to do. But if you're able to, go ahead and grab a pen, and we're going to go ahead and do some exercises right now. So before we grab that pen, put that down real quick, and I just want you to do these exercises with me. So put your 2 fists together, close really tight, open. Spread out your fingers as far as possible. Close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open. Good. Close, open, close, open. One more time. Close, open. Okay, go ahead and shake those out. Okay, if you're able to, like the okay sign. So see the okay sign, do the okay sign. So now we're doing okay. Then we do it with the middle finger, okay. Then we do the ring finger, okay. Then we do the pinky, okay. Let's do that again. Pointer, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Let's do that again. Pointer, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Okay, while we do this next set, let's do the months of the year. So let's say January, say out loud, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Okay, now we're gonna do it again, but go backwards. Ready? So December, oh gosh, November, October, September, August, July, June, May, April, March, February, January. Did you do it? Great. All right, shake it out. Shake it out. Good. All right. So now I'm going to have you, let's do one more time. Close, open, close, spread out your fingers farther, open, close, open, close, open, close, open. Good. Close, open. One more time. Close, open. Okay, shake it out. Good. Now I want you to grab that pen that you had and go ahead and just roll it in your hand like this. Go ahead and roll it. Good. Now I want you to take it in one of your hands and roll it. Roll it. Roll it in between your thumb and pointer, your thumb and middle finger, your thumb and ring finger, and your thumb and pinky. How did that go? Now shake it. Shake it. Shake it. Good. Shake it. Very good. Oh, shake that hand out. Take the pen. Oh. All right, let's do the other hand. So let's see. Let's go ahead and roll. Roll. Middle finger. Ring finger. Pinky. See, I'm very weak with my pinky. Let's do it again. Middle or ring, pointer, middle finger, ring finger, pinky. Okay, shake it. I'm not as strong with this hand. Shake it. Shake it. Shake it. Okay, how did that go? So that's just with a simple pen. You can do those exercises. Now, if you have a piece of paper, go ahead and grab that piece of paper. I have some scratch paper folded in half. Go ahead and tear it. Okay. If you're ready, go ahead and fold it in half again. See how you're exercising those fingers? Fold that in half and tear it. I worked for a hand therapist. All these were really important to do. Not necessarily easy. And now with one hand, go ahead and try to just use that one hand to crunch it up. You make it into a ball. Good. Can you get the other strip, make that into a ball? Got it? Let's pair the other paper. Use your other hand. Oh, this is harder for me. Other hand, crunch it and make it into a ball. Use your opposite hand. This is my, I'm not ambidextrous. This is my non-dominant hand. And then take the other sheet, make one more ball. Okay. I'm going to move this a little bit. Let's see. We can do more of these. Now I'm going to take all 4 of these balls that I have. You see it in front of me. I'm going to flick it, flick it, flick it, flick it. Try to line them up. See if you can flick them. So with your fingers. So this is a taste of what hand therapy is like, but this is an easy, inexpensive way. You don't have to buy all those toys that I showed you on the other presentation before. You could just make your own, and you could even make this fun and do this with your grandkids. You just flick it, and now you're not only strengthening, but you're practicing the coordination of your fingers to flick it, okay? The towel I'll do in my next presentation, but we'll keep the towel and napkin. I use this towel. We'll use this for my next presentation, or if I have time at the end. So, all right, any questions with any of that, just put them in the chat. So I talked a lot about games. In fact, PCLA had an article not too long ago. I put their link here about the importance of playing and games. I hope you guys play more this year. How can I get you to play more? Um, it's funny because there's so many gadgets and things out there, but I just told my dad to go to Chuck E. Cheese with the kids. You might not like Chuck E. Cheese. I know a lot of people think it's sticky cheese. They don't like that place, but you know, surprisingly, all of the things at Chuck E. Cheese are actually really good for hand-eye coordination, for cognition, for reaction time, and building up the reaction time. Um, but here you can see my dad's playing basketball with my son. He's also playing one of those games. I don't know what you call them. And there's all kinds of things that are just, again, our brain is firing off when we're playing these games. We also found out how competitive my family is when we learn Mahjong, but imagine with Mahjong, again, how long you have to sit, you reach, hand-eye coordination, holding those tiles. Mahjong's like I don't want to say it's Chinese dominoes, but it's really similar, these little tiles that you have to grip. And then obviously strategy and all that you're using. And then if you have issues with your hands and dexterity, you can always purchase things like this up here. There's always card sorters and holders and such. There's all kinds of things to help you to play games. But I just encourage you to explore the child in you and play more games this year. There are also obviously things on the app that are on the apps that you could download. Here are a couple of them. We love playing on our phones and our devices. You also might not be able to use your stylus or hold it well. So I reminded you that there are these really inexpensive tools that you can attach to writing devices to help you to still be able to use your iPad and your stylus and play those games. So hopefully you can play here. There are coordination training games and visual training games. I'm sure there are more, but I put this article down here that references all of these. So, and then using our hands. So using our hands more, whether it's creating art or developing something or building something, but art specifically is such an emotional and social activity that is just therapeutic and healing for a lot of us. So it not only really flexes our visuospatial skills and helps us to hone in on those and develop them, but there are now adaptive tools. So these scissors are some primarily for arthritis, but they actually help with the spring to make it so it's easier to cut things. There's also these adaptive scissors down here. And again, tools that you can attach to writing tools or art tools that you're using. I also believe that there's so much psychosocial benefit with creating art. I actually am certified with Art for Healing, and we use acrylic paints and the canvas as a non-judgmental space. Again, another way to release all your emotions and negative feelings and create self-awareness in ways that we wouldn't ordinarily do it if we're not journaling or doing some other form of releasing. So, and again, here are more apps. There's so many apps online just in helping build your cognitive memory, your cognitive skills, helping with your executive functioning. So here are two apps, and again, another article about some brain health apps that you could download. I wanted to just highlight the use of smart devices to track our PD symptoms. Here, my dad just got one of these. They're the Aura Ring. You don't actually, again, I'm not getting anything from this company, but I found it to be useful because you never, unlike the watch, you don't ever have to take it off, and it only takes 20 minutes to charge up, but it gives such good feedback and data. So it tells you about your sleep and your activity primarily. And this is information that from your phone, you can email to your family, to your doctor, to your trainer, to your health coach, and they get real-time data on you as well. It's, I know, sometimes hard to translate that data to other people. So I've really benefited and saw the benefits from an Aura Ring. Here I'm really proud of my parents. My dad is also mom and dad are part of this ballroom dancing group. The research shows that dance improves gait and balance issues, plus also helps patients in their thinking ability and decreases feelings of isolation through social interaction. And a really amazing organization, Dance for PD, also Power for Parkinson's. They all have dancing. And again, we're bringing in music in another way into our lives. So this is a great form of exercise and social interaction. So if you're not dancing, I encourage you to do so or find a group where you can do that. But the research says this is kind of the gold standard based on our population, but also just in general. They suggest for Parkinson's disease to have 3 days aerobic exercise, at least 30 minutes. Strength training would be ideal as well, 2 to 3 days for 30 minutes. Balance exercises, 2 to 3 days for 30 minutes, or stretching 2 to 3 days for 30 minutes. So if you can get into an exercise class or do something 3 days a week, that's amazing, ideally for 30 minutes. And then all these other things are really icing on the cake. If you can't go anywhere, I listed 2 websites, one of which I'm working for, Houston Area Parkinson's, where they have so many YouTube channel videos that at the convenience of your home, you could have no excuse to exercise. You could just exercise and turn it on. So, and they're all free. So I think that's really valuable and important. So all that to say, we're at 15 till. So I wanted to end with mindfulness. And I think mindfulness is really what is kind of the theme with all of these practices I brought up, is just bringing you back to focusing, your brain focusing on the now and being present and what's happening today. I think we use this word mindfulness to describe so many things, but for me, I felt like it was really important to practice it because we hear mindfulness done so much. This is also encompassing all the breath work and the grounding. All those are mindful practices that, again, have so many, not just health benefits, but psychosocial benefits that overall, I think if we can try any of them again after today and continue to use them on a daily basis, we could really see huge benefits for ourselves and for our probably our loved ones, because we'd be happier and nicer with them. So all that to say, I wanted to invite you to join me in this mindful practice. If you have a moment, just go ahead and sit back and relax. I'm going to go ahead and ask you, I'm going to guide you through some breathing, a body scan, and then a mindfulness exercise. So go ahead and sit back and relax and just close your eyes, and let's practice some of that breath work that we practiced earlier. So smell the roses and then blow out the candles. Go ahead and smell the roses. Blow out the candles. One more time. Smell the roses and then blow out the candles. And then now I want you to close your eyes. Keep breathing and noticing the next few breaths. Through your nose, out through your mouth. So in your mind, starting at your head or your toes, I want you to slowly move through your body in your mind. Slowly move through your body, noticing any sensations that you have without judgment. Starting at either your head or your toes, slowly move through your body, noticing any sensations without judgment. Notice any sensations without judgment. Keep breathing. Now, where there may be any tension, I want you to direct your breathing into those areas. So where you feel tension, maybe in your head, your neck, your shoulders, I want you to breathe into those areas and relax them as you breathe out. Keeping your eyes closed, notice the tension and breathe into those areas to relax them as you breathe out. Take a couple more breaths. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now, with your eyes still closed, and now your body hopefully more relaxed, I want you to ask yourself, what experience do I most want to be saying yes to in my life this year? I want you to ask yourself, what experience do I most want to be saying yes to in my life this year? One more time. What experience do I most want to be saying yes to in my life this year? With your eyes still closed, how do I want to feel? Maybe light, open, focused. How do I want to feel? Maybe joyful or connected. How do I want to feel? I want you to take 2 deep breaths and start to imagine what it feels like to be there in the place that you identified earlier you want to say yes to. I want you to imagine what it feels like to be there in that experience that you want to say yes to. What does it feel like to be there? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel or smell? How do you stand? What's the expression on your face? I want you to activate all your senses, the sight, sounds, smells, to support your mind, your whole mind and body, in connecting with this vision. Notice how it feels to be fully connected to this vision of yourself for this next year. Now I want you to think, what is one step you can take towards that vision? And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And maybe you might want to take that paper and pen and journal what you just visioned about for this next year, how you're feeling, what you just experienced. All of these things that we're practicing today stimulate our vagus nerve, which is a system that controls your heart rate. And what we're trying to do is trigger a relaxation response throughout our whole body and our mind. So when you participated right now in this mindful exercise, body scan, and box breathing, I hope that your body feels more relaxed and calm. This is what I'm hoping for all of you in this community this next year, is more relaxation, more calm, and less stress in your life. So with that, I want to conclude that, I hope that you're active and independent with everything you've learned, that we've learned ways to increase our dopamine, and there is awareness, prevention, and education you might have gotten today. And hopefully you can join us February 27th when I speak again and I'll recap. But I'd also love to know if you have any other topics you want to bring up. And if you have any questions and answers, feel free to email or call me or put it in the chat today. But here's my information. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to support you and love to help you in this journey. So thank you so much. It's been an honor to be with you this last hour. So
I want to
thank you.
extend a big thank you to Dr. Lagasca. That was so wonderful. It seems like that concludes our portion today of moving forward. Thank you so much all for joining us today. And if you enjoyed today's program, we invite you to visit PCLA.org and make your donation today. Your support helps us continue our mission to improve the lives of families in our community affected by Parkinson's disease. For more information, please refer to the contact details on the screen. Remember, PCLA is a nonprofit organization and all donations are tax deductible. Thank you for joining us in making a difference. And please join us for Dr. Lagasca's 4th session on moving forward. This has been such an incredible experience for us, and we are looking forward to seeing you in February. On January 31st, we have Dr. Ellen Bradley discussing psilocybin and Parkinson's. So please join us for that. You can register for all of these on our website. You can go right to the calendar section and find the dates. Thank you so much, Dr. Lagasca. This was amazing. And thank you all for joining us today. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have fun this year. More relaxation.
Thank you so much.